Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Leo Naranjo, the fourth candidate for governor 2026. Well, there you go. A series of Postmates with the questions that were open to all candidates. There was a series that was specifically to each candidate and their campaign question that was solicited. However, since I was not there, I have no earthly idea what they would have asked me had I been present. So I chose not to respond to those questions individually. You've seen the debate, you can witness it for yourself, and let's be honest, folks, be honest with yourself. What did you see? What did you see when the debate was over with? You saw Katie Porter gravitate to Steve Hilton and chum it up. You saw Tom Steyer embrace Chad Bianco as if they'd been long bestest buddies for ages and stay chummed up. You saw Mr. Beccera minding his own business, closing up shop, left to his own accord, like he was picking up his goodies and just walking off. You saw Mahan look like a lost puppy to try and find a place to fit in. These are the candidates that we're trying to elect in California. If you ever watched a sports game, before the opponents play, they come together, they shake hands, they introduce the captains, and they know that they're about ready to enter a contest where there's only going to be one winner and one loser. That's it. You shake hands, you go about your business. Fighters do the same thing. We see that in the ring. You touch gloves, you go about your business. You do your business. You handle your business. And at the end of that contest, the winners and the losers come together and shake hands. They congratulate each other for play well done, try to bring up the losers who took the bath and didn't come away with the prize. And then they go to their own camps and they either celebrate or they reevaluate what they need to do to be better. When you're on a stage hugging your opponent way beyond the norm, and this is the guy that supposedly basically stands for everything you are against, and you're embracing him like long-lost friends, that's an issue. That's a sign and that's a tell. Something is up. Mr. Hilton, you're cavorting with Miss Porter. Something is up there. In my personal opinion, is she trying to sign on to your golden showers as a hostess or as a participant? Mr. Bianco, why would a billionaire bother himself with you? Why would you bother yourself with him? Shake your hands, be cordial, be gentlemanly to each other if that's what you want to do. Nice job, way to go, Chad. Okay, Tom, and then you go about your business. But you're leaving an optic that's very distasteful and very suspect. That's more than just foes or opponents shaking each other and acknowledging each other. And I dare say I gave you 4 letters of acknowledgement that you even entered the race back in 2023, and your happy ass ignored every one. Why do I call you a coward with a badge? Because you are one. You boasted and bragged about your 33 years of experience being a sheriff, but you're afraid to match it against a 36-year Army veteran. Why? We've had over a year we could have had this discussion. And you've been shielded and protected, and you've denied and blocked and never could make it because you know what would happen is that you would be embarrassed on a stage with me. Point proven, Mount Diablo Republicans, Danville, California, that was your crowd, and I disrupted your game with the 10 minutes they gave me to encompass all the things you got to talk about in your 30 minutes. Fairness, or you just kicked me a bone, or what did you think it was? And to make matters even funnier, they hosted a candidate that never even made it to the ballot, and they gave him 30 minutes. Isn't that funny? Folks out there, be honest about what you saw, but then also look past what you saw and see the things that you missed or that you didn't see. You didn't see Mr. Caruso holding Matt's hands, and therefore you saw Mr. Caruso look a little lost. He was measured. 30 seconds is not a lot of time to establish yourself on a position. I've shown those videos of what 45 seconds looks like. Give him his credit where credit is due. On that stage with that many candidates, the only person that matched me with intensity and with focus was David Serpa. Him and I came out of that good and good looking. 45 seconds to answer a question is not a lot of time. 30 seconds to answer a question is even less. It looks easy when you're on a stage with that many people looking at you and trying to think of what you're trying to say now and what you're trying to say in the next couple of questions forward. It's very difficult because you don't want to look like a fool or an idiot. And so you're focused. And you try and ensure that you give the best possible answer you can. There are thousands of responses you could give if you had time. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but you only have 30 seconds. I've got a plan. It's the Democrats' fault. It's been 16 years of one-party rule. We need to do better because I got a plan. Oh, and don't forget Miss Dahlia. She was hurt because of these little drivers. This is horrible. I got in contact with her. You got in contact with her nearly a year after her accident because you never mentioned neither child in any of your campaigns, any of your X-platform stunts, nothing. The only reason why you talk about them today is because they were going to Washington where a law was drafted in memory of her, the Dahlia Coleman bill. And they ran a truck across the nation to codify it. That's when you got involved, Mr. Hilton, and that's the only time you got involved, political opportunity. I don't recall you doing much of anything at their time of need when the accident first happened. But yet I was there, and I provided a letter of support to both families, the Coleman family and the Cruz family. That was out of sincerity. Did a person of a political standing running for office get political points out of that? Yeah, I probably did somewhere. But the intent and the initial reasoning was that was a family that was in dire need of support. And again, as a father, as a grandparent, as a man, simply as a human being, I reached out and did that. And I just happened to be a candidate. Everything you and I do, sir, has a political attachment somewhere. You have to separate the two. Is it theatrics or is it sincere? Is it real or is it Memorex, as the old saying goes? Are you being phony or are you being forthright? One thing I can say about the efforts that I did, I leave it to those that received them to tell the difference. Was he honest or was he full of crap? They know. This was a Democrat-held sponsored event in a Democrat-held city for Democratic voters. That was all this was. Who was their best candidate? Tom Steyer, he's going to be the blocker, the road blocker for the main guy. And the main guy is looking like Xavier Beccera. Coming from D.C., coming to be polished, coming to do many things here in California. Continue the grift, more than likely. Putting a Republican in there, yeah, that would be great if we had decent Republicans, but how can you stand there and legitimately say we have two Republican candidates that are trying to run for governor that are good? And you see those two individuals standing there and you see everything other than good. Have we become a party that is so desperate to get a win that we're willing to sell not only our souls, but our neighbors' souls, their children, their livelihood, everything that we stand for as a party? We're ready to give all that up just to win? We have a problem if that's the case. But it's too late. We've already done that. We've given up our party platform. We're no longer a party of pro-life, we're a party of pro-choice. We've given up the Second Amendment right argument. Yeah, we have them now, but we're embracing a guy that doesn't like citizens having firearms in their possession. Illegally, that's one thing, but legally, no, because that's not where he came from. We stand against Islam and Islamic attacks on our civilization and our culture, but yet we have an individual running for office whose wife embraces that mentality and that theology. She lives in America, but she's not an American citizen. Her husband's running for office, the governor of the state of California, one of the greatest states in our nation, in my opinion. But yet she can't even vote in the very election he's running for. Think of the optics. He wins, but she's not a citizen. That's what we've become, the party of mediocrity. Boy, that reinforces that image to death. He hasn't climbed above 20%. Most polls put him under 20% and actually put him closer to the 15% range. Oh, there's some plus and minus, 1 or 2 points up and down the scale, whatever it is. But ladies and gentlemen, let's be a little bit honest. Again, be honest with yourself. That number has not been on a continual rise for the last 2.5 years. I don't care how much money he has. I don't care how famous Fox News has made him. I don't care how great you think Steve Hilton is. He's capped out. The sheriff, law and order, 33 years of everything I know everything in 33 years, but you don't know shit, sir, beyond the confines of Riverside County, much less your own town. You've never cracked over the 15% hump in 2.5 years. A small climb is still a climb, but no climb is stagnation. You've topped out. Your theatrics by seizing ballots is not helping. Hilton's endorsement from Trump did not help at all. Both of you 1,000% behind Trump, standing there shaking your fist, I'm 1,000% behind Trump, is not helping either one of you in a state that hates Trump. All you've done is galvanize the Democrats. Well, oh my God, Leo, you're a Republican. You're sounding like a defeatist leftist. No, I'm okay with Mr. Trump too. But I wrote a hot letter to Mr. Trump when he started to withhold money from the Palisades victims and their fire problem down south because he did not like the politic in California nor the state's governor. And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if that pisses some of you off, but I wrote him a letter and I chastised him for making that resolving commitment of not helping Californians. I don't give a damn that they were liberal Democrats, radical Democrats, gung-ho, off to the far-right Republicans. They were citizens of this state that had an event that happened and they needed assistance. For the federal government via the president to deny that based on a political party affiliation, do you know what kind of precedents that would have set? Some of you don't look past your TV screens. Some of you, political hacks, don't look past your own glory of what you encase yourself with. You are so focused on yourself, you don't see jack beyond you. Have a party here in California. I want you to think about this. Just put yourself in this picture. When you have a hometown guy who stands up for something that most people would be fearful of, much less never consider, to run for an office in your hometown, your groups support that guy. Your groups support that team. It's your hometown. California Republican Assembly has not only a governor candidate, they have a lieutenant governor candidate in their hometown. Do you think those people support either one of us? No. California Republican Assembly of Sacramento doesn't support shit but themselves. They were more concerned with trying to get on seats for the Central Committee than they are with helping their homegrown, in-town, same group candidates for governor and lieutenant governor, they were more interested in themselves than they were for us as candidates to advance into this race. They've done nothing to help. They've done, well, I'm not going to say they've impeded, but they haven't assisted. Is what I'm saying, that when people that so-called hacks feel don't matter, you think they're just looking at us? You think that they're blowing us off because we're not rich and famous and so they don't give a damn who we are? You don't need to hear about us because they said so? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just like one of you. And when they treat me like shit, you see me laughing about it. No, that's not because I'm stupid. That's because I'm trying to let those people know that are arrogantly telling me that. You keep thinking you're besmirching me. No, you're not. You're besmirching the millions of people who stand behind me, who look, act, and stand just like I do. Because if you think I ain't worth a shit, what do you think these people behind me are? They're not worth a shit either in your eyes. You want their vote, but other than that, you don't give a rat's ass what happens to them. That's why none of your candidates say, why are they running? Insert reason. Oh yeah, for the people of California. For the people of California. To make the state glorious again. You ask me why I'm running, first and foremost, for the citizens of this state. Well, that's an infantile statement, Leo. That's really childish, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Should I? Go back through all 62 candidates on the ballot. Look up their information really quick. Why are they running? And it ain't for you. I'm fighting for the people of California. If you're a Democrat and you're a progressive liberal, that generally means illegals before citizens. Criminals before citizens. Everybody first before you, the citizen. You don't believe me? Look at the mess that we're in today, folks. I'm not telling you things that you don't already know, haven't seen, lived through, or about to experience, or know somebody who has. This is straight talk. Can mistakes be undone? Of course they can. It's a little late in the game, but you can still change the direction we're headed in. The difference is it's up to you to make the change, the voter. And I've said this in many of my speaking engagements. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what any candidate on any stage says. At the end of the day, you, the voter, are going to decide where California goes. Rises or falls. Prosperity or poverty. Your call. Who's the biggest screw up in California? Gavin Newsom. Really? Once again, let's be a little honest. Who's the biggest screw up in California? Step into your bathroom mirror, look yourself dead in the face, ask yourself that question, and wait for the response that's looking dead at you. I used to use that question on my welfare clients in Sacramento County. And most of them are stumped because most of them, nearly 85%, always gave me the wrong answer. Funny part is I told them that as soon as I asked them the question. And here was the question. What is the one thing, the biggest thing that is the impediment to your success? And before you answer, I'm going to tell you right now, you're wrong. Go ahead. So I leave that question for you out there in internet world. What is the biggest impediment to your success? And for 85% of you out there, let me tell you this right now, your answer is wrong. And I already know it. But go ahead and give an answer. I'm not going to know what it is, but you will. Question asked, answer given. Most of you are wrong, but some of you caught it. Some of you are aware of what I'm getting at. The biggest impediment to your progress, to your success, to your prosperity is you. That's the biggest impediment. People do not like folks like me running because they're afraid of what we can do. They're afraid that the words we say are in fact going to happen. They're afraid of the speeches that we give are going to reach folks like you and convert them away from them, the parties. Leo, nobody's afraid of you. You're a nobody. Really? I hear that so often. It's almost a joke for me. It's laughable. No one's afraid of me. No one's afraid of me, then why won't your bigwigs get on a debate stage with me? Well, because you're not up in the polls. That's because you're afraid. Well, you don't have any money. That's because you're afraid. Well, you're not popular. That's because you're afraid. I can go toe-to-toe with you. I'll change your room. I went down to the Merced GOP, and guess what? That was a Hilton group. Gung-ho for him. In less than 30 minutes, half of those people were no longer gung-ho for him. You think people didn't catch that and pass it around to their surrogates, their buddies, and to the establishment folk? This mofo does not need to be in front of any others saying what he says, because he's changing their minds. He's giving them inspiration. You don't want them having inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, by that I mean the establishment does not want somebody like me motivating you to think other than you're a failure, defeat is inevitable, and we'll never win is a constant. That's what they're afraid of. I'll let you in on a little secret that I've kept for a long time. When I first started this run, I didn't look impressive, still don't. Got a suit, look a little impressive though, because I can't stand suits. Hated them in the military. Well, hate's a strong word. Disliked them heavily in the military. The dress greens was nice, but I couldn't stand being in that particular uniform. It was constricting and confining. And when I'm on my time, I'm relaxed. I don't care what it looks like. I'm comfortable for me. Might not be pretty for you, but it's comfortable for me, and that's who I'm pleasing at that time. So at the first convention here in Sacramento, you wouldn't have known me from Adam's apples. I didn't look like a homeless guy, but I didn't look like a suited up dude either. And miraculously, guess who I ran across? Leo Zaki, my counterpart. You know, Leo Zaki, the other Leo in the governor's race. How do you distinguish between Leo Zaki and Leo Naranjo? I look better. That's confidence. It's not ego. And fact. But anyway. Yep. Leo Zaki didn't recognize me at first. Probably never heard of me. And if he did, probably didn't remember of hearing of me or seeing me or anything else, because I didn't look the part of a candidate. My purpose of being there was to see what the hubbub was all about. I just ran across him. So he started giving me the spiel. Okay, sounds good, interesting, impressive. We'll pick it apart when I get home. And lo and behold, near the end of his spiel, he said, and when I'm governor, I said, when you're governor, well, sir, if that means you're governor, that means I've lost. Who are you again? How you doing, Mr. Zaki? I'm your counterpart, your opponent in the same race. Leo Naranjo, pleasure to meet you. Oh. You're the other Leo. Yes, I am. Wow. Nice to meet you also. Got a little bit of a chit-chat going on. He says, well, you know, this is a race for governor, so unless you got it, you're not going anywhere. I says, well, I'm on the field of play, so I'm going to be there regardless. Well, Leo, who knows you? Well, unfortunately, probably 20 million people up and down this state, they knew me as Leo of Sacramento when I was on Mark Williams' talk show of KFBK fame. But that was like 30 years ago. Most of the teens are now adults in their 30s. Most of the adults are now in their 60s and they're seniors. Life has moved on from the fame I had on that radio show as a caller frequently. and highly opinionated. If you remember any of that, I started off as Leo the Embattled State Worker when I worked in the State Franchise Tax Board vis-a-vis Arnold Schwarzenegger's governorship run. But then I moved it over to Leo of Sacramento, and I reported on Sacramento commentaries. The FBI debacle with the anti-soldier slogans and paintings that they propped up. Yep, I was there. The effigy hanging in Southland Park. The effigy soldier that was hung by that individual's home right outside the garage door. I cracked that one open for Mark Williams, and I was there during that protest through the evening. The anti-illegal immigration rally that was held on the Capitol steps with Mark Williams, I was there as well. I've been there a lot. And when KFBK unceremoniously dumped Mark Williams, I was there protesting them as well. To them, I was a nobody. To them, I didn't matter. Highly funny, highly humorous, that to drive me off, they had to turn on the sprinklers. But I guess they didn't realize it was 103 degrees that day. Getting wet was not going to drive me anywhere except put a bigger smile on my face because, they gave me some water. I like that. Yeah, some people would say I'm just stupid like that. But I was a nobody to them when they had other things happening in the state. Amazingly, they put forth an effort to have a festival in Roseville, a Roseville Wine Festival. And we showed up. Deborah Johns led the effort. I helped organize the effort, and we showed up, picketed their Roseville Wine Festival. And from what I understand, this nobody and the group of people who supported us in our efforts, and Ms. Johns present, cost that group $3 million in vendors, in business loss. Right after that, very surprising, KFBK had one more event in the future that they put their name to. The problem was you couldn't attend unless you called into the station. That information was not going out over the radio airs. Why would that be? Oh, I'm Steve Hilton. I got President Trump's endorsement. I can tell you what that one is. Steve, shut up. Go away. We're not talking to you right now. So they held another special event down by the old Century Theaters, the big domes. Remember those, ladies and gentlemen? Not too long ago, it used to be in multiple domes over there. They held a special event, Flags of Our Fathers. Remember that movie Clint Eastwood put out about World War II, the Japanese version, American version of what happened at Iwo Jima? Whoa. Steve Hilton coming in. Oh, I know what happened with that. I got that little bastard with the mustache and the four eyes, the glasses. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah, that guy right there. Yeah, KFPK was smart. They fucked you, didn't they? I bet she didn't do shit that day. No, I didn't, because I called out to the supporters and I let them know this was a highly sensitive subject that required surgery skills to do what needed to be done, which was protest the station. And I did, with the help of a young lady, Annabelle Grove. Hi. Well, who cares what you did, Leo? Nobody gave a rat's ass. Really? KFBK sure as hell did. They had about 9 security people out there pointing at me from across the street and radioing everywhere I went. And I never even went to the theater. I was outside in the parking lot. Right after that, KFBK for one solid year did not sponsor anything by name in the Sacramento area until all of the hoopla died down. That's impactful for somebody like me who was a nobody. Okay. John Doolittle went after a friend of mine, Deborah Johns. Remember Deborah Johns? She was the star of the moment at that time. Her son had done 3 combat tours in Afghanistan. Popular. Famous. She crossed paths with John Doolittle, congressman. What happened when that occurred? We went after John Doolittle. And then Miss Johns stepped in. Leo, I need you to back off. Okay. So now let me ask you the real question. What the hell's going on with that? You're out of character. What's the issue? And on private side of life, she told me, my job has been threatened by the Doolittle campaign. So I need you to stop because I might lose my position. Holy shit. That's serious. Miss Johns, let me say this from the bottom of my heart. Other than that sucks. Thank you for the information. If you need to disavow yourself from me, I understand. But all you've done, you paraphrasing the Torah commentary near the end of the movie, is you've just pissed somebody off even more than before. And so I left a personal letter for Mr. Doolittle at his office, and within a day or two, I got a personal phone call from that gentleman that there must be a misunderstanding. Let us explain. To which I responded, you don't need to explain shit to me. What you need to do is apologize to Ms. Johns, but you don't seem to be willing to do that. So let me remind you how this works. You are not anointed to your office. You are elected to your office. You have forgotten the difference, but we're getting ready to teach you a very hard lesson. And John Doolittle lost his campaign for his congressional seat. Mainly because he fucked with somebody that I knew personally. You run across people every day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you meet individuals that you probably don't give a second glance to. Some folks you look at, you might look past, you might, well, they don't look impressive. There's a Tyler Perry movie out, I think The Family That Prays, where the main characters, it's an interesting movie, and I highly recommend that you go see it. It's in the repertoire of Tyler Perry movies. Althea, not Viola Davis, Althea Woodard, I think, is one of the stars there. She has a friend that's suffering from Alzheimer's that eventually passes away. A very rich friend, by the way. Ooh, I mean, uber rich, right? And they became friends. This lady, African-American woman, she's just a little diner owner. Polar opposites. White lady rich, black woman diner operator. And this lady entertains some homeless dweeb that comes in, mumbles a little bit, says a little bit, makes a commentary about finances. People look at him like he's an abject idiot. What the hell would you know about money, stocks, or anything else? Your stupid self is homeless living on the street, dude. Get the hell out of here. Come to find out at the end of the movie, the guy had a mental breakdown, but he was a high-class lawyer for the very firm that broke his spirit that the older white woman now controlled from her errant white son. The movie you have to see for yourself on how the results turned out. But I'll tell you this, it wasn't what you expected of the homeless guy. Because the homeless guy gave advice to the African-American lady. You'll see the movie. You don't know people unless you get to know people. And a lot of folks I keep running across look at me, give me the up and down, and you can tell it right away. They got that mentality of arrogance. I'm better than you. I've been in this game for 30 years. I know about politics because I eat, live, and shit politics. I'm smart. And you, unless you have money, are a nobody to me. Yeah? You can lose a game by 1 point. You want to test that theory? I'll let you know how that turns out. God has given me the abilities that I have, and I use them as best that I can with his guidance. I've never purposely gone out and harmed people unless they've purposely gone out of their way to harm me. Or attempt to. So I have recalled an incident where a supply sergeant of mine was staff sergeant was talking to a new incoming staff sergeant, supply sergeant in Fort Dix, New Jersey, and commented that as a specialist 4, E4 ranking, that according to the sergeant I knew, here's the new sergeant, that specialist has a big mouth, he bitches a lot, he whines, he cries, he moans, he groans, he's always talking shit. And the old supply sergeant, both of them are half drunk, took a big shot of his beer and he said, I'm going to tell you something that's going to help you in your tour of duty here at Fort Dix. When that soldier starts to really complain, you better be paying attention, because it ain't going to get better or easier. It's going to get ugly really quick. He don't look like much, but that's just because he don't look like much. And I'll leave it at that. The new sergeant and I came out, we were pretty good buds afterwards. Yeah, I still bitched and complained because that's what soldiers did back then. They bitched and complained. But when I really let off, it was a good reason why, and they started to look and see what was going on. When your first sergeant calls you in for your opinion on his unit, that's influence. That's respect. That's trust. When the company commander, captain grade, 03 officer, the little railroad track silver things on those guys' shoulders, puts me on his team, makes me his defensive captain, and then tells me it's your show, that's trust and respect. And we won post-championship that year. And almost took it the next year. And hadn't won a post-champions in over 15 years before I got there. But that's just me. Because I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. I discounted right away because I'm not rich and famous, act like I'm rich and famous, walk, talk, eat, shit, breathe like I'm rich and famous. I'm discounted by people like you that think those of us of the middle class ain't shit except a vote and a piggy bank waiting to be plundered. Wrong guy. We saw 6 Democrats on that stage, 2 that had Republican by their name. 4 Democrats still trying to figure it out. Swalwell's gone. Yeah, well, his name's still on the ballot, but that's going to careen, falter to the wayside. It'll siphon off some votes, but it's not going to siphon off a huge enough of a number that the Republicans are betting on. Katie now, she's going to start to feel the heat because the Democratic Party, the DNC, I'm not talking about the California Democrat Party, I'm talking about the National Democrat Party, does not want her there. And she will suffer the blows either willingly or unwillingly. But the result is, I don't think she's going to make it. But at this point, probably doesn't need to drop out either. We're all on the ballot, people. So dropping out really isn't much of an option. Looks good, sounds good, but who cares? Your name's still there. My name's still there. Hey, my name is on the ballot. Let me tell you folks something out there in La La Land, in the state of California, and anywhere else this video goes to. No matter what happens to me in this election by June, my name was on that ticket. Where were you when California needed you? Did you run? Nope. Did you try to run? Nope. Did you run in this election? Nope. Did you help anybody try to win this election? Nope. But you stood on the sidelines and threw stones and cast aspersions and talked shit and pointed out all the things that are wrong about the state and the people that are running it, didn't you? Yep. Lead, follow, or get out of my way. That was our B-knock chant. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'm going to lead. I hope you follow. And if you're not trying to do one or the other, then get the hell out of my way and let the people that are trying to fight for this state do just that and stop shackling us and preventing us from helping where it needs to be fixed. That's my request of you. God bless each and every one of you. I hope you like this series of videos that I've shot out, including this one. Yes, they're lengthy, but they're informative, I hope, for you guys to understand. Take care. God bless. We'll talk to you again. My name is Leo Naranjo IV. Visit my website, leonaranjo, 4gov.com. Donate, please. Help out as you can. And we'll talk to you later. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.